welcome everybody to the session on aviation sustainability with Etihad Airways, Boeing and Safran. My name is Edward Haynes. I'm Group Director for Partnerships and Programming for the Global Aerospace Summit. We have a really interesting discussion today looking at the future of sustainability in the aviation sector, particularly with the team working at Etihad and Boeing and Safran on the Eco Demonstrator project. I'm going to ask each of the speakers, please, to introduce themselves today and their role within the project, and then we'll get into the discussion. So, Miriam, perhaps if we can start with you.
Hello, my name is Miriam Al-Qubaisi. I'm the head of sustainability. I guess that's it. Do you want to know more about it? I mean, my background is in sustainable development. I did engineering and sustainable development. So you can say I'm an environmental engineer. And I recently joined Etihad, and wow, what a group, what a sustainability agenda they have, and I'm so glad to be part of it.
Thank you. Rami, perhaps over to you.
Yes, good day everyone. My name is Rami Awadallah, and I'm the Director of Fleet Engineering with Etihad Airways. And primarily our responsibility is to really look after the fleet from a technical perspective, and with regards to sustainability, look at some of the solutions and some of the innovative ideas that we can incorporate on our fleet. Thank you.
Thank you. And Sean.
And I'm Sean Newsom. I'm Director of Sustainability Strategy for Boeing Commercial Airplanes. My role is to help advance the company's sustainability agenda to help make aviation more sustainable. And as part of that, I'm actively engaging with our industry partners around the world, including proudly Etihad Airways.
Miriam, if we can begin with you. Can you describe Etihad's current sustainability efforts and the activities that you're undertaking at the moment?
Sure, so if I can summarize our efforts, they fall into three areas, mainly emissions control. The second area is waste management, and the third area is wildlife protection. Now, emissions control is very much interconnected to the other two, so it is the area that weighs in the most. Under emissions control, we look at three different aspects: sustainable aviation fuel and offsets. And thirdly, we look at the operational efficiencies. Most prominently, and our most recent venture, the Eco Demonstrator, is testament to operational efficiencies that look at the other two aspects, offsets and sustainable aviation fuel.
Excellent. And Sean, perhaps if you can build on that and look at Boeing's sustainability efforts, what's the perspective of the manufacturer here in comparison to that of the airline operator?
Well, obviously we're very complementary in our strategy and our efforts. What we do at Boeing starts with the airplane. That's our business, to build the most fuel efficient airplanes in the world. And so our number one sustainability effort is the continuous innovation in technology for today's airplanes and for future airplanes. Eco Demonstrator program is part of that effort, part of that strategy behind it, is we advance technology to make it ready for the next airplane, so that when Etihad Airways, for example, is ready for their next generation of airplane, we've got the best airplane available to deliver to them. In addition, we have a suite of services that we offer through Boeing Global Services that help the airlines fly more efficiently on a day-to-day basis. We also support the world's effort to make ATM infrastructure more efficient, working with governments around the world on that. And then key to the long-term sustainability of aviation is transitioning to more sustainable energy, more sustainable fuels. We've been a leader in developing sustainable aviation fuels for the industry from the beginning. Etihad Airways has been one of our key partners in that in multiple ways through the years, through the Sustainable Biomass Research Consortium and doing the first biofuel delivery flight back in 2012 on a 777-300ER. We're very proud of the effort. We're very proud of the progress we've made as an industry and as a company to bring sustainable aviation fuels to reality for the industry. Now we need to scale it up.
Okay. And Rami, last November, Boeing and Etihad announced a strategic sustainability alliance and launched the Dreamliner program. Can you tell us a bit more about that partnership and what are the joint objectives?
Yes, absolutely, Edward. So as you mentioned, towards the end of 2019, Etihad Airways and Boeing formed a strategic partnership termed the Greenliner. And the essence behind this strategic partnership is to really build on the framework of sustainability and innovation. And with that in mind, the principles of this partnership was that Etihad Airways would be able to offer its fleet of 787s, and we would be able to use those 787s as test beds under that framework. And with that in mind, this is where the Eco Demonstrator program came along. And essentially, the Eco Demonstrator is really putting this commitment into action. We've essentially looked at sustainability and offered the 787 to really perform some of the tests in conjunction with Boeing, NASA, and Safran. And really, the principles behind it is, to showcase not just Etihad's sustainability plans, but reflected upon Abu Dhabi and the UAE as well.
Miriam, to come to you, given the wider crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic has placed on the aviation industry, how much of a priority is sustainability? Has it fallen by the wayside with everyone in survival mode, or is it still something that's fundamental to the airline in the future?
You'll be amazed, but it is quite important. In fact, it became more important than ever, given that air travel is a medium of transportation, not only of people, of wildlife, legally and illegally, but also disease. So I think it also highlighted the health aspect of sustainability, the social aspect of sustainability. And it helped us not only focus on making aviation more environmentally friendly, but also, air travel more environmentally friendly, but also safer. So under that umbrella of sustainability, in order for you to tackle all three aspects, which are very much interrelated, social aspect, environmental and economic aspect of sustainability, I think it is very much the hot topic on the agenda.
And Sean, how did this year's Eco Demonstrator program adapt to COVID? I mean, what sort of things did you have to do to continue within the kind of restrictions that we were all facing? Were there any special wellness-focused technologies that were tested? What's been the kind of outcome there?
So Eco Demonstrator program tests all manners of technologies for sustainability, for technology, for innovation, for safety. And so as the COVID crisis emerged, it became a natural extension to investigate technologies to make the airplane cabin more safe for the traveling public in a COVID environment. So we've developed a UV wand for sterilizing the flight deck, which we tested on this year's Eco Demonstrator program. And we also tested some coatings on surfaces for the flight deck to make them less hospitable to viruses that may land on the surface. So it was just a natural opportunity as new technology opportunities came to the forefront through the COVID crisis to bring those into the Eco Demonstrator program.
Excellent. And there's a kind of question to all of you. With testing programs like Eco Demonstrator and the other sustainability commitments that are being discussed, you're really at the forefront of innovation in the aviation sustainability space. But where do you think the airline industry as a whole goes from here? What does the future look like, both, do you think, for Etihad as a business, and then more widely as a community of people as a whole?
From a sustainability perspective, I think this is an opportunity for us to, further design and improve our service iteratively, and make sure that we're very much in line with the upcoming and new standards, health and
Yeah, just to build up on what Mariam's saying, in principle, we see that there is some benefits with regards to the operation. So we tend to see some benefits with, enhancing the airspace usage. We look at some benefits with regards to emissions. And, as Mariam said earlier, now is the right time to really test these mechanisms and bring them to light, and it's not just a case of building on operational matters, but also the wellness of the passenger. And that's a big key element that we were fairly involved with. And, looking at using the UV wand as one of the principles, but it's all about building on the wellness aspect of the passenger journey all the way from the airport to the destination through our aircraft.
And, looking beyond the current crisis, our commitment to the environment, to making aviation more sustainable, remains as strong as ever. The opportunity presented by the crisis is to look again at what it is that we're aiming to do as an industry and as individual companies within the industry. But we've had a long-standing plan, a long-standing strategy for making aviation more sustainable. We've had a sectoral goal for aviation emissions out to 2050 for over a decade now. This has given us the opportunity to, even in a time of crisis, to reaffirm that commitment, that we remain committed to reducing the emissions of the aviation industry by half by the year 2050. There's been opportunities presented by the crisis to retire some of the older airplanes sooner. So we're going to be capturing some of those emissions reductions as an industry sooner than we would have otherwise. But the overall plan remains the same. We need to continue to invest in new technology at the aircraft level. We need to continue to make operations on a day-to-day basis more efficient. And we need to transition to more sustainable energy, to use more sustainable fuels as an industry in order to reach that long-term ambition of substantial reduction in aviation system emissions of 50% by 2050 relative to 2005 levels.
Etihad has a very ambitious target of cutting down its emissions or having its emissions by 2035 and going carbon neutral by 2050. Not only are we committed to CORSIA as a country, we're also committed to a more ambitious goal by cutting down our emissions and reaching carbon neutrality by 2050. You know how the saying goes, you can't clap with one hand, and the only way we can expedite this journey is through synergy and industrial synergies. And this is one example of a very successful one with Boeing, Safran, and NASA. So I think this is very important to continue this. I mean, if anything, we showed that these technologies are commercially viable, although they are not commercially ready for use. And this in itself is a major achievement. With more partnerships, I think this will be expedited further to have substantial impact on our carbon footprint as an industry.
Absolutely. Just to add one last point as well to Mariam's comments is, as part of our Greenliner program, we really do invite a lot of the manufacturers, a lot of the research entities to use our test beds to really push the envelope in terms of sustainability and innovation so that, as an industry, we can all benefit from these initiatives. So we're very welcome to invite anybody who's willing to use these test beds.
Excellent. Sean, any final remarks?
Yeah, I would just add that it's been a great partnership that's been started with Etihad, the ability to join the Greenliner program with the Eco Demonstrator program, and the synergy and the timing of the availability of the Etihad airplane to support the test flights in Glasgow, Montana. Just this past August has been a tremendous opportunity, a tremendous success for Boeing, and we really appreciate Etihad's partnership in that.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for your contributions today. I think it's been a really interesting session. It's good to get the holistic overview of the Eco Demonstrator and the Dreamliner project for the audience watching today. I'm sure that you're all available for outreach, as Rami said, from anyone who's interested in getting involved in these programs in the future. And so we look forward to building on this, and hopefully when we're allowed to meet again, see you all at the next edition of the summit, and we can talk in in more depth about the progress of the various programs.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.